Hey everyone, and welcome to today's amazing time-traveling explainer. We're going way, way back on an adventure to an ancient desert. Picture this: giant Egyptian-style tents, crackling fires, and some incredibly cool rules that actually teach us how to be super friends. Today, we're exploring the ancient book of Leviticus, specifically chapter 6, to dig up some hidden treasures about saying sorry, cooking ancient recipes, and keeping a very special fire burning. Okay, let's dive into this because, well, we all make mistakes, right? Imagine you're out on the playground and you accidentally break a friend's absolute favorite toy. Or maybe you find something awesome in the dirt, but you secretly know it actually belongs to your neighbor. What do? It's a super relatable problem. Sometimes we mess up, we tell a fib, or we take something that isn't ours. So the big question is, how do we actually fix it? Back in Leviticus chapter 6, God gave Moses a brilliant plan for exactly this situation, and it involves a big, important word: restitution. Basically, restitution means giving back what was taken and making things completely right. You see, this ancient text teaches us a really powerful lesson, which is that restitution precedes forgiveness. Just saying, "I'm sorry," isn't quite enough. If we act perversely by dealing falsely with a neighbor, stealing, or keeping something that's lost, we have to actually take action to fix our mistakes before we can offer our prayers to God. So let's walk through the 4 exciting steps of making things right. If someone in the ancient camp tricked a neighbor or kept a lost object, step 1, they had to confess. Step 2, they had to return that stolen or lost item in full. Step 3, and this is a really special one, they had to add a little extra. And finally, step 4, after doing all of that, they would bring a guilt offering, like a flawless ram from their flock, straight to the priest to seek forgiveness. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that third step. To truly show we're sorry, the ancient law said you must add a 20% penalty, which is exactly 1/5 extra to whatever you're returning. So imagine you accidentally took 5 of your friend's coolest building blocks. To make true restitution, you wouldn't just give those 5 back. Nope, you'd give them back plus 1 extra block. It was a brilliant way to go above and beyond to heal that friendship. And here's the big, beautiful moral behind all of this. Treating our friends and neighbors nicely with total honesty, well, that's exactly how we show God that we love him. The text tells us that dealing falsely with a neighbor is actually acting perversely against God himself. Harming another person violates God's laws of love. So being honest, playing fair, and fixing our mistakes on the playground is actually a core part of being holy. The never-ending fire, keeping the light alive. Okay, so in the courtyard of the magnificent tent of meeting, Aaron and his sons had some very specific daily duties. And get this, they wore these super cool, clean linen garments, just like ancient Egyptian clothing, while they worked right at the main altar. God gave a very strict but beautifully poetic command for the burnt offering. The fire on the altar had to be kept burning all night long, right, until morning and all through the day. Every single morning, the priest would kindle fresh wood on it just to keep that flame dancing brightly. Taking care of this holy fire was a messy but deeply respected job. When the fire consumed the offering, the priest would put on his special linen garment and linen shorts to carefully remove the ashes and place them right beside the altar. But here's the catch. He couldn't just walk out of the camp looking like that. He had to actually change out of those holy clothes, put on different garments, and then carefully carry the ashes way, way outside the camp to a clean place. Every single detail showed such deep respect. And this brilliantly illustrates our next big theme: continual spiritual devotion. Just like that flame in the desert that Aaron and his sons never, ever let go out, our love, our prayers, and our commitment to God shouldn't just be something we do once in a while. It should be a constant, burning fire in our hearts, a never-ending, brightly shining devotion that stays lit through the morning, noon, and night. Holy bread and grain, a very special recipe. You know, the ancient priests didn't just deal with sacrifices. They also cooked up some truly fascinating desert recipes for what was called the grain offering. They used fine flour, pure olive oil poured from ancient jars, and sparkling frankincense. A handful of this went up in smoke on the altar as a sweet, fragrant aroma to God. The rest of it was completely holy, and Aaron and his sons would eat it in the courtyard of the tent of meeting. But there was one huge rule: no leaven. That means absolutely no yeast. It had to be baked entirely flat. Now, there were actually 2 different ways this was handled, depending on exactly who was offering it. Take the special anointed priest's offering, for example.
When Aaron or his anointed descendants brought their own grain offering, it was well mixed with oil, fried on a griddle, broken into pieces, and completely burned up forever as a sweet aroma. None of it could be eaten. But the regular grain offerings from the people, those were baked without leaven and shared. The priests were allowed to eat that portion right there in the holy courtyard.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Washing the holy pots. Super clean rules.
In a busy desert camp, cooking and cleaning were a really big deal. If the priests cooked this especially holy meat in a regular clay pot, well, the clay absorbed the holiness. And because it couldn't be fully cleaned, that clay pot had to be absolutely smashed to pieces, literally shattered. But if they cooked it in a sturdy, shiny bronze pot, they didn't have to break it. Instead, it just needed a super good, vigorous scrubbing and a deep rinse in water to be ready to use again.
The rules for the sin offering were incredibly strict because the offering was considered exceptionally holy. If even a tiny, single drop of blood from the offering splashed onto a priest's ancient Egyptian linen clothing, it was immediate laundry time. But they couldn't just wash it anywhere. It had to be scrubbed right there in a holy place. Plus, if any blood from a sin offering was brought inside the actual tent of meeting to make atonement, that meat could not be eaten at all by the priests. It had to be burned up completely in the fire.
Lessons for us today. Being a great friend. So the crucial point is, what do shattered clay pots, 20% penalties, and never-ending fires actually have to do with us on the playground today? Well, everything. It comes down to 3 amazing morals. Number 1, true repentance means saying sorry with our actions. If we take something, we make restitution. We give it back, and then some. Number 2, we show our love for God by how wonderfully we treat our friends and neighbors. And number 3, just like that altar, we need to keep our spiritual devotion and love for God burning brightly, continually, and forever. Which leaves us with one final exciting question for you to think about as you go out into the world today. How will you keep your own spiritual fire burning brightly today? Whether it's by sharing a toy, telling the truth, or just saying a little prayer of thanks, you have the power to be an incredible friend and keep that beautiful light shining.
Click the bell button, like, share, and subscribe. See you on our next adventure.